why did I resign? I was forced because of the devaluation of the lira, similarly to what you mentioned previously, or our current pound. And I wake up from $10,000 salary to overnight it's $300. So for me, that was kind of a no. I'm not ready to take any, sorry for the word, any boost, because the amount of stress that happened, thinking that the banking side, overnight your money is gone. We had a lot of money that was just.
So hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Takadao. Today we have with us Rudy Shushani. Am I saying your name right?
Yes.
Yes, very good. Rudy has wide experience in the information technology field, in startups, in crypto, in the financial sector. He has over 2 years of experience helping him aid organizations. His specialty, which is ICT governance, compliance strategies, and cybersecurity in digital transformation of fintechs particularly. Rudy is a certified professional with many achievements and awards, skilled in executive leadership. He's been an active speaker, board member, coach, and mentor for startups. He is also the host and moderator of DXTalks. It's a podcast series and it has a YouTube channel. I saw it. It is about digital transformation. So DXTalks and Rudy have been selected lately as top 50 global thought leaders and influencers. So welcome, Rudy, to our show. Would you like to give us an introduction about yourself?
Thank you, Murad, and thank you, Shireen, for inviting me onto this. I love the word, by the way, before going into introduction, the Takadao, Talks. Taka in Arabic, which means energy. So maybe you mean it's something else, but the original Arabic word means energy. And this is where we must really try to think about how we can use that energy towards something else, a better place. So about myself, you didn't, you mentioned everything that has to be mentioned. But I'll add a little bit of a personal note. When we met Murad, I love to not just speak. I love to portray knowledge to people that I feel are disconnected or not really getting there, because technology is showing the divide very clearly now. So my mission, I think, in the last 3-4 years now, is to bring that aspect of knowledge, is to bring that aspect of how we can connect, make people aware, try to push people into new fields. Because if you're not into the technology field, you don't have to be a techie, but at least if you're not into understanding technology, we're going to be having a lot of competitions we've seen them in the last 8-9 months, from ChatGPT, and later on from robots and so many other things. So my personal additive to my bio is I love to work with companies, work with governments, work with everyone, and try to really bridge that aspect towards a better place. And this is where the Global Summit of SMEs with ESQA, United Nations, and this is where we met Murad. My mission was to really bring Web3 into an aspect where the world, especially coming in Jordan and our Arab region, at that point of time, especially last year, many of the agendas were not there. Not just Web3, in general, the foundation, the blockchain. So my mission is to really bring blockchain to the Middle East.
That is fantastic. And because, this is your mission, well, tell me why, and why is it important to you? What was your journey to Web3 and crypto?
Prior to Web3 and crypto, I've been into banking for around 20 years, fintechs, and this is where you mentioned fintechs. But I discovered blockchain around 7 years ago. And I discovered it similarly, possibly to 99% of how people discover it, through trading, trying to make money, trying to invest, trying to see how we can catch that wave of becoming a millionaire. But later on, I discovered that this technology is not just about making money, regardless we made money or not. But this technology is much, much more than this. And this is where I said, for me, let me educate myself. And I've been there for 7 years. And until today, I'm still educating myself, something I will never stop. But I understood that this technology is far beyond what we are or what we've seen. It's a revolutionary, disruptive technology that will change everything that we know. And I discovered also, in line with blockchain, because other technologies are easy to understand to a certain point, but blockchain is even more complex. It's much more harder to grasp, but it's a fundamental change to our lives. So I took it, part of my mission is to make it easier. That's why we discuss a lot about blockchain on our podcast, trying to bring it in Arabic or in English or whatever language, trying to host people, trying to have other people share their knowledge, share their technical skills, share how and why and how we can bring a better world. For me, it is a better world because blockchain, as I said, it can provide us a lot of better solutions the way the current system's working. And you have discovered this with Takadao and the implementations that you have took to fix a problem in society using your innovation. And it can be fundamentally, it can change everything from digital identity. We had digital identity, but now it's much bigger than as just an identity. It's a opening where everyone can have a better single source of truth, transparent, which is something we are missing in the world. And how the politics and how the governments are going, it's totally opposite to this new ways, which is decentralized, transparent, and accessible to all. And it can empower, most importantly, anyone without permission. So that's the permissionless, to act upon and create and innovate and make some money, but in a different way, not from trading, but from creating innovations.
So, you have said that the blockchain can actually facilitate a better world. And I've actually seen this myself. Personally, I've been really surprised at how the blockchain and particularly cryptocurrency was able to help certain people. So we had a guest from Venezuela, and at the time there was no more usable money. So Venezuela, the currency inflated so much that they had something like 14 zeros or like 20 zeros after the digit to show you how the money went out of whack. And cryptocurrency was able to come in and save the day because suddenly they all had now a usable money. They couldn't buy US dollars because it was illegal. And so this is a concrete way in which crypto that I personally saw how it helped people. In your experience, what did you see and what is it about crypto that you feel can make the world a better place? Oh, not crypto, but the blockchain.
It's crypto or non-crypto. As the minute we move the trading part and making, trading on a side, because this is kind of any usual instruments. The minute we move that on a side, a whole new world opens up using crypto. It doesn't have to be only for trading. You mentioned one of the scenarios. There's numerous scenarios using the blockchain itself as a foundation or using the cryptocurrencies as a solution for financial. If you look at, you mentioned Venezuela. If you look at at Salvador, they totally back their currency with Bitcoin. So it's not gold reserve; it's Bitcoin reserves. This is another solution. Why? Because this is a global new types new type of money that it can actually try to promote, try to help. It's stable to a certain point. The utilizations are there. You can trade in it at any point of time, and you don't need permission. And guess what? You cannot even block it because the way things are going, governments are trying to block many things, and one of them is the cryptocurrencies. But today, cryptocurrencies or blockchain or Bitcoin is immutable to all of this. But if you look on a wider scale, if you look on Africa, for example, Africa is still underdeveloped. regardless we agree or we don't agree. And then that happened on purpose. But regardless of the political side, we are now on a brink of possible evolution for the whole African continent. When we're talking about billions of people, it's not just about the majority of the younger generation in the world is in Africa. So how can you empower those young generations? So that's one thing where you can help them. Secondly, for example, farmers in Africa, they need financial solutions, they need insurance solutions, they need loans. How can they access them traditionally? Because if the traditional ways is you have to go to a bank. So let's say if you are a farmer, you're 1,000 kilometers away from any close bank. You need to open a bank account. They don't have the history. They don't have a lot of things. So this is where cryptocurrency comes in, and DeFi applications can play a role to try to empower those farmers without, guess what, just on his mobile, applying, creating identity, authenticating the identity, waiting 0 minutes to do transactions. If I want to do a transfer today, for example, using Swift or any other alternatives, it will take me 3 to 5 business days for the money to transfer from one country to another. With cryptocurrencies, it's immediate trade, success, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, in midnight, after whatever is the time. And most importantly, how much am I paying in fees? If you are on the same platform, sometimes I can send up to $1 million with zero fees. So those are possibilities where it can empower societies as a whole. And we mentioned digital identity of how it is going. We've seen the founder of OpenAI, Sam, producing the WorldCoin, the orb for authenticating and then scanning your eye as a digital identity, permissionless, and so many other things, regardless of the privacy. It's a solution for a global aspect. If you wanted to create identity for, if you had 10 banks account, today you have to create and authenticate 10 times KYC, 10 times. So here in the blockchain aspect, you can do it once and replicate it many. And most importantly, let's call in the banking side, I've been there for 20 years. And the problem is most of the time now, in the last decade, is about compliance. The time spent inside banking is compliance. So why do we need to every time re-authenticate, re-KYC, do the things where we can do it once and then deploy it many? And so there's a lot of massive solutions that can help and fix lives. Look at HCR. They partnered with Cardano to help the displaced from the Middle East and worldwide to be able to give them cryptocurrencies directly to their wallets and then directly transfer to stable currency after that. So it's not about anymore, is it legal or not legal? The question now, if we look in our region and if we look in UAE, it's not, the question is not about legal. Legalities are all there, the associations are there, the regulatory frameworks are there. It's about how can we innovate to bring this towards something much more bigger than where we are today.
That's amazing. Actually, I wanted to point out. So basically, you're from Lebanon originally. You live now in Dubai, which is the fastest, I would say, crypto adoption in the world hub that's happening. You also, I'm sure you have a lot of experience with your diaspora, Lebanese diaspora, sending money in and out with the crisis that happened for the past now 5 years, I would say. And you were you were a banker. So what made you so we have an insider, basically. We have somebody who used to be in the banking system, understand the in and out of the banking system. So what made you like, hey, break up the shackle and say, hey, this is it, I want to hear from your side, maybe a story of friends, whatever, that made you like, that's a mission now. I want to really let people know, because we have people now from the banking system, and when I talk to my bankers and my friends, they always, oh, don't worry, it's not going to happen, this blockchain thing is a fuss, and they all try to downplay. I had a call with a big guy I cannot name, was like, it's never going to happen, and we don't know the use case for that. Please give me some like juicy story of why do you think this is what's going to happen?
Living in or sugarcoating our problems and trying to hide our problems is something we all do. So was it on a personal level, on a government level, on a governor level, because I will be talking about the central bank governor also. And this is our we try to have some success and then make it as a big bang or whatever. So this is our attitude towards life. We'd like to inflate anything, and we like to, if there's a problem, no, to downplay it, and so many other things. But I think I'm a Lebanese Canadian that is currently really investing in UAE, because I see, as I mentioned, I've been there 7 years. I'm not early, but I'm not late. But I saw that UAE is on the forefront of this technology, and it's pushing the agendas, and its strategy was the metaverse strategy, 2030 strategy, and soon Saudi Arabia is also pushing on that front. So it only makes logic to be in UAE and then pushing those agendas and try to see the investments, because now we're talking about investments. That's why I'm in UAE, because I'm choosing to be on the forefront of those technologies. But I've been into the banking. I've been into the banking from the Middle East side and from Lebanon side. I've worked in Lebanese banks more than 12 years. So I know the ins and outs, and I was a very high senior when I resigned. Okay. Why did I resign? I was forced because of the devaluation of the lira, similarly to what you mentioned previously, or our current pound. And I wake up from $10,000 salary to overnight it's $300. So for me, that was kind of a no. I'm not ready to take any, sorry for the word, any book, because the amount of stress that happened, thinking that the banking side, overnight your money is gone. We had a lot of money that just disappeared. The devaluation of the monetary value of the currency also kind of disappeared. So that was a major loss. So on a personal side, I said I'm not taking the stress that comes with it, because I was there for the first couple of months. But for others, they don't have an alternative. For me, I thought I should be smart. And I should be venturing into a world where I can possibly create an impact. So this is where I resigned, and I started venturing, trying to see how I can make it into a new world, right? But going back to the crisis itself, before I resigned, and then sugarcoating everything, the whole Lebanese economy was kind of inflated. And then I see this all over now, right? Lebanon scenario should be taught in universities, because if the governor of the central bank was awarded in 2017 as the best world governor, and then 2 years later we had a total meltdown and collapse of the system, there is something not right. And then we are seeing this across all. If we look at, I predicted Sri Lanka scenario a year and a half before. When the minute I visited Sri Lanka, prior to the collapse of their financial systems, I noticed directly that the economy is not fine. There is no real GDP. And this is when you notice that the GDP is very important towards how you are functioning. In a fake economy, where you are overspending versus your income, versus your manufacturing, versus your agriculture, versus I can easily detect a country very easily to understand if it's going to fail or not. And we've seen since Lebanon meltdown. We've seen 4 or 5 countries in the world. Argentina is one of them, and more are failing because of something called the fake economy that we are living in. That put pressure, COVID put a lot of pressure on this, and it kind of gave a digital divide, if you want. But we can really now, as citizens, try to see and try to put on the world agendas and our governments and our cities and our, all over, that something is not right. Let's try to fix it. So in Lebanon, it was very simple. The state was overspending by 300% on yearly basis, and the income was not working. So in financial terms, your book records will not match, but they were making it to match. So that was a hoax. That's why we really need to teach these in universities of how you can push real governance, real agendas, real financial transparency, and then learn from the Lebanese scenario on a global scale. Because guess what? It didn't fool just the Lebanese. It fooled the whole world. And we're talking about possibly a $300 billion that disappeared. So regardless of the political agendas, political status that's even also failing, but in the end of the day, it comes to there's more than $300 billion that disappeared. There's people in need. How can we, fix this prior to it happening? The IMF didn't detect it. The World Bank didn't detect it. The United Nations didn't detect it. The world, didn't detect it. But it was super clear thing. And then when we look at our governments, our local governments, now we can see more what's happening and how we can directly say, this is a red flag. It's not working here. Let's try to fix it in a better way. And possibly this is where blockchain comes in to help and solve the
question.
solution.
Yeah. On that level, quick. So I want to also understand, there is a need for sure in certain pocket of population. So there's definitely, like when I look and I travel to Africa, also Indonesia, the population are really in need of this easy way of sending money to one another, particularly when it comes to remittance. They find for themselves, they say that's a hack for them, and like, I don't want to pay the fee anymore. Why don't I do it like that? They might even send it to a friend's wallet, and the guys get it in his wallet, and he goes to the elderly person, say, this is your cash sent to you from your father, from your son, or whatever. On the other side, so this is the what's happening on the ground in country where there is definitely a real need for that. When it comes to European or Canadian, we heard about the trucker situation where overnight they got the bank account closed down because they were part of a strike or whatever. So the freedom of, what the so-called freedom becomes like, you can be free and poor at the same time, freedom of speech. But the thing I want to, so where is, I would say, the guy who's carrying the flag to support, like in the battlefield, where is it going to come from? Is it going to come from European, or is it going to come from Africa or Indonesia? So the divide, the have and have not, because we live in a open society when we can discuss, like in Europe. I'm French originally, where crypto is kind of well accepted at a certain level, but yet where do you think, or Switzerland as well, I had a call this morning with a Swiss friend of mine who's building a DAO. Where do you think this happening? Is it going to come again from the European bright mind savior, or is it going to come from the down, and Africa being the leadership and become maybe the leader into that space? But are they going to let them do it, or are we going to again have a certain kind of pressure to not make it happen? I want to hear
As
your
we
point
speak,
of view on
we
that.
have the BRICS joined all together, right? So that's a privilege. And then today they added UAE. They offered UAE, Saudi, Egypt, and some other 2 countries membership to the BRICS. Now, why you have to ask? I'm not pushing that the BRICS will be that flag holder, but that's possibly the forefront of all of the changes that possibly could happen. You mentioned Canada. I personally, I want to put it on the record here. As I mentioned, I'm Canadian. I feel Canada is very sick right now, financially. So I don't know what's going to happen within the next year or the year after, but I really don't feel Canada is happy or wealthy enough to sustain the changes the way its economical policy is going on. So that's not coming from there. Europe is trying to regulate the cryptocurrencies as a whole, but it's not holding any flag and trying to be the forefront. The whole continent of Europe is kind of sleeping at this moment. You know exactly when you say Europe or France or any other, they are keen to crypto, but they are shy. Malta in 2018 was on the forefront of cryptocurrencies, and it was warned by the European Union to slow down, and then all of the investments went out. So I don't see Europe going in that front. All of the advanced countries are on a risk of not taking this. But again, if you look on the investment side, JP Morgan, BlackRock, Chase Manhattan, all going in, was it on the futures? BlackRock created the first real futures on cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin. And this is happening as we speak. If you see the JP Morgan portfolio in Bitcoin, it's huge. So we are seeing big investors and investments going in the space of cryptocurrencies, but not on countries. They are trying to regulate, trying to make it more of a use case, utilization, securities, or other different types of things, but not as a leader. I think one of the major ones is BRICS is a potential to change this role on a global scale. And with that, we can, because they are trying to also, apart the rumors, to introduce their own cryptocurrencies so that they can all transfer within one currency as we speak. This is the forefront. But where is the need? And this is where I see Africa is a bigger scale. And today, for example, Lebanon, prior to the economic meltdown in 2019, it used to send remittances around $8 billion. With cryptocurrencies, it possibly 1.5 or 2.5 doubled, regardless of how they were transferred from cryptocurrencies. If we look in our region, the biggest users of cryptocurrencies are two countries, as in top. If you want to call, let's say, top three, Saudi, Lebanon, and UAE. This is how they are ranked in terms of working with cryptocurrencies, in terms of people adopting. Even though in Saudi it is technically not legal yet to work with, but as far as citizens, guess what? They are one of the highest adopters of this. But in Africa, it's a different game, and this is where we need more adoption in this space. If we look at Zimbabwe, I think, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, or Zimbabwe, I forgot the name. Anyway, they went into another type of, because their country is also failed. Zimbabwe, I think it is Zimbabwe. So they are using SMS financial money. So they send you kind of a different kind of coin. It's not cryptocurrencies. It's just a traditional, remittances or whatever using SMS, because the banking system has failed. So innovation in the telecom business, for me, I had 5 years ago, I thought that the telecom business would have been the number one financial remittances, financial payments, but I don't see it yet taking that role versus the cryptocurrency. The cryptocurrency is much more, I would say, advanced and easier in implementing or adding as a solution. So it's not a win-win scenario. We have to wait and see. But I think as lucky investments or current implementations, the BRICS might be having the biggest chance. And in BRICS, we have different African countries, so that could be on the forefront.
I kind of want to.
I thought doubling down on that. As you mentioned the telco, I was in the same view. I thought that the telco would leapfrog and become like the largest unlicensed bank in the world
True.
somehow, because of the fact that you look at the example of Starbucks being the largest technical non-official bank in the world, holding billions of dollars, just holding coffee credit. Imagine holding credit on the mobile phone. I still don't understand why the telcos are not jumping on board. But you see the like
Apple
of
is trying to
M-Pesa,
do
for
it.
example.
Apple is trying to do it with
Yeah,
Apple
Apple.
Pay,
Yeah,
but
Apple
still
as
we're
well, of
not
course.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, but we see the like of M-Pesa, in Kenya, for example, where
Yeah.
people are using, peer-to-peer payment. They're paying their bills with it. They're paying anything with it. They don't feel the need of having a bank account. I had a call with one of my uh, employees. Actually, was telling me, I don't need a bank. Forget about the bank now. I have M-Pesa and I'm fine. I can pay my bill. I can send money, whatever. I can do personal. I can do whatever I want. So, and they're now adding a crypto angle into that, where you could receive eventually. So I think that's how, the use case for crypto will happen.
Well, just to touch on a couple of points here. Number one, I think telcos being a bank is a terrible idea because it's the same problem. You're having a centralized entity control your money. This is a terrible, terrible idea. But I did want to push back on the BRICS discussion. So I am 100% a Bitcoin believer, and I'm also a big fan of crypto as a solution in the interim to Bitcoin being you can do nothing with it today, right? However, if you look at the movements that are taking place today, BRICS, de-dollarization, this whole big buzz about de-dollarization, the failing fiat countries around the world, there isn't actually a viable system to take its place, because the Bitcoin, which is the biggest decentralized currency, is what is it, like 600 million today of market cap? It is tiny, and it will not be able to actually take on the burden of, let's say, being a reserve currency in any global capacity. So while this is the ideal, we're really far from it still today, just from the size of the market cap and from adoption perspective. So do you think that crypto really can be a viable alternative today for the failing currencies, for inflation, for this overprinting by the Fed of the dollar?
You mentioned different points, which I agree on some, I don't agree on some. It is an alternative, right? And then today we need to discover, as I said, if you go back 5 years ago, the telecom should have been there, but it didn't. Regardless, it is replicating the same thing in a telecom way, from centralized banking and so many other things, because we need rules and we need regulations also. So, and if you see now, cryptocurrencies are being regulated, but what are they regulating? Just the outer shell. The inner shell, we've seen what's happening in the world. You cannot have full control on this. For example, Bitcoin. With all of the regulations, you cannot stop it. You cannot flag it. You cannot do anything with it. So it is a real decentralized application, so you can build on. But the other application becomes, again, the problem is who is the owner, who is the founder. We've seen FTX and what happened with FTX and the failing of FTX because of so many other things. But they adopted bad practice and bad governance, and they went out the same way as similarly to any other bank failing. Similarly to SVB, Silicon Valley Bank in Silicon Valley. So it's not just if cryptocurrency can solve this or it cannot. It's just it adds another value to having the transactions in a way where we didn't have them before. Would banks go full on a blockchain? Do you want your accounts on the internet to be known when do you transfer money or not? We will not. So you need certain private blockchains or certain other things to try to work it out. But we need certain applications to take care using the blockchain, using the cryptocurrencies. Bill Gates said something very interesting. I don't agree with him with a lot of things, but I agree on him on this. We don't need banks, we need banking. And whatever is the banking, is it built on blockchain? Is it built on cryptocurrencies? We just need that facilitation we're still trying to discover what is the best way to do transactions. And today, even blockchain is not efficient enough to hold the whole world in financial stability or financial transactions and so on. If you compare blockchain transactions with the best blockchain that there is, it's not equal to Visa at this point of time. So we're not there yet. But guess we are in the infancy part of this technology. We're going to be seeing a lot of innovation, but we have a lot of bad actors also in parallel to the innovation that we are having, which is killing the real drive for more adoption. Every day we open our news, we see some bad actor is using cryptocurrencies just to fraud or defraud or whatever. We're in the beginning of this. This technology is only 13 years old. For the whole banking system that has been there for 400 years, for traditionally to move to something, we don't know what it is yet. That's my belief. But it will be based on the new innovation of blockchain. Will it be on cryptocurrency, stable coins, or government stable coins? We've seen the UAE and Saudi working together with something called the Aber cryptocurrency, try to work together as governments and central banks to push money or move money across. We've seen different types of things happening, but we don't have the full-on knowledge at this point of time. What is the best financial scenarios? And then you get a lot of people arguing, it's Bitcoin, it's cryptocurrencies. And my belief, at this point of time, we don't have that global system. Even though that Bitcoin can be global or the cryptocurrencies can be global, that's something plus, but we don't have yet the full-on innovation that is integrated across all. And this is what brings cryptocurrencies to give it a favor, a plus versus others, because it could do the job on a global scale. But at this point of time, we're still in its infancy and trying to discover the new ways of doing finance.
Very cool. From the perspective of consumer adoption, and particularly in the Middle East, because what we're trying to do here, like most of the time when I open the news that is crypto related, it's always the voices are coming from the West, right? They are hogging the narrative. So we try to give a snapshot of what's happening around the world outside of these hotspots, these Western countries. So from the perspective of the Middle East, what do you think today is the greatest barrier to adoption? And I mean mass consumer adoption.
The application side. It's always the application side. Look at OpenAI ChatGPT. It took 5 days to reach 1 million users. It took 2 months to reach 100 million users. Why? It's not regulated. We are working towards regulation now. Always the regulation will follow later. But we need that application where it's super easy. It just let people jump onto it. We don't have it yet. It will come. We don't know when. It will come. I'll call it usually a good white swan instead of a black swan, because we need white swans for us to adopt such technologies. It's not always black. It's not always failing. Sometimes it's good. And then OpenAI was one of them. We don't have this yet. Bitcoin itself was a white swan, but it is too complex to really integrate, and it's too slow to scale. So there's a lot of innovation that happened from Bitcoin white paper until today, and then Ethereum is trying to be this innovation. If you look at the innovation on Ethereum network, it's huge. Everything technically you build today or at one point of time was built on Ethereum, not on Bitcoin. All of the applications. Now we are seeing more challenges to Ethereum and others. We need this challenge. We need more. But in our region, I would say it's apart from transacting, because most of our people today is about making money. We need to find what is that one application that will really fly and create a big bang where people will be on it. Maybe, for example, just giving an example how it could be, Facebook moving to cryptocurrencies and blockchain, or WhatsApp and Instagram and Facebook. So we have 3 applications directly moving. That will not happen. They tried many times, they failed. But let's hypothetically say they successfully did it with the regulators. That could be a white swan, swapping everyone. Indirectly, you are utilizing cryptocurrencies and blockchain, but on the front end, you will not know all of this happening in the background. So we need such move towards a big bang. But we are winning small use cases by small use cases every other day. Takadao is one of them. I would say you are unique in the whole kingdom, if I'm not mistaken, of what you did and then how you
in the world.
yeah, possibly not just the kingdom, of course, but as a kingdom itself, as a solution built on a blockchain, you built something, amazing to be able to get a real problem. Because what are you solving? A real problem, but it's limited to certain audience. It's not a global problem where everybody can relate to it. And this is where possibly we need that bigger problem so that people can directly, that's the solution.
Yeah, we kind of have a chicken and egg thing here, right? Because we're providing an insurance solution, and one of the key benefits is, of course, you get a crypto payout. And this is most important for people who, number one, are unbanked. So getting a crypto payout is very important because you don't have access to a banking account. Number two is you are living in a place with a failing currency. So you need the crypto payout because it's either that or your insurance payout is going to be worth maybe 10 cents on the dollar by the time you get your insurance payout. So we need the people to already use crypto. And you mentioned, maybe you need some events, external triggers that will cause people to use crypto. And I wonder, why is it not enough when you have just failing banking systems? All these shutdowns of the Silicon Valley Bank, and then there was the Credit Suisse. Why is it not enough when you have this it's crazy inflation in so many parts of the world? It started with countries that were like Venezuela, Lebanon. Now it's everywhere. There isn't a single country in the world where inflation is not a thing. I mean, Canada,
Yeah.
they're crying. They're like in tears all day long because of inflation. How is this still not enough to push people to seek out alternatives?
The biggest problem is trust. All right. Blockchain provides some trust, but because of the so many bad actors that we've witnessed across, is not the best alternative at this point of time. Because guess what? I moved from my money from, let's say, from Venezuela. Now it's in crypto, and then all of a sudden FTX disappeared and my money disappeared. So what did you do? At this point, we still don't have a full-on scenario. Again, if on the Bitcoin itself, because some people will argue Bitcoin provides all of this. My personal theory, the creator, which is possibly a group of people under the name of Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever he is or they are, if he comes back, what's going to happen to the Bitcoin network? He disappeared to protect the network. But let's say he just moved one transactions because he has a lot of Bitcoins, just removed one Bitcoin. What's going to happen to the whole Bitcoin network? He holds a big wallet with extensive amount of Bitcoins and it's signed under his wallet address. But the idea is, you mentioned unbanked. 22% of the whole Middle East is currently unbanked. Why they're not jumping into this revolution, let's say? We have what's happening in Silicon Valley. If you look in the UAE now, I speak with lawyers. There's a big movement of companies and investments and investors moving to UAE on a specific aspect, because there's a money dry in Silicon Valley, and then they're moving there. So the next best thing, let's say, is trying to see how they can incorporate in UAE and possibly in Saudi, because they are in discovering phase. But again, this is not, you mentioned, it is a global crisis, money is being, but still it didn't do that big effect. I totally agree with you.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, you need these drivers. But again, when we look at Bitcoin in general, we've been like trying to understand who's the majority stakeholder, minority stakeholder. We went to the scholars and they had the same question. What if, just you mentioned, but we know that that it's very diversified, very peer-to-peer. and the holders, the well, like they call them, even combined together, they cannot do much into destabilizing the
True.
Bitcoin, and they will have to unify it all together in order to make it happen. And by the way, as you mentioned, the like of the robber people who plan to get rich, they have a circle. They need to get rich in the next 2 years or 3 years, the like of FTX and so on and so forth. If your scenario in terms of, can we still trust the Bitcoin and the people behind it, blah, 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 has been going on for 13 years now. The guy didn't, how long do you live in your life to become rich? You're going to wait 13 years to scam people and start enjoying your life? No. So I think the stabilities of the currency itself, Bitcoin, has never been hacked as a blockchain, as a lot of things. And then the decentralized meaning, even we know that government are mining Bitcoin, in order for them to become relevant in the future. The like of Nepal, for example, and secretly, many countries are mining Bitcoin secretly, even to have an edge against inflation and maybe have their own reserve, I would say. So things are happening in a very decentralized manner. It's very difficult to have either some hands behind it, and the whole point was to have no hand behind it. That's the reason why it
That's the
disappeared.
idea, and that's
So having
the
like
beauty of it.
exactly. So this is one thing, and then of course on top of that, you have the like of Ethereum building apps, solution, finding use cases, making it cheaper and everything. So you have more of this kind of product coming on board to validate the technology and the use case, and making us finally supportive and feeling comfortable. And again, the bad apple that we mentioned during this discussion were all centralized exchange, not you crypto, not you code, not you crypto. So the problem is the masses are getting fooled by centralized exchange, not decentralized exchange. If it
True.
was on a smart contract decentralized, there's no way they can get rid of it. Issue we're facing now with decentralized exchange might be like a breach of contract. People try to snap inside and try to break you code and try to get you keys and stuff like that, or get you crypto. So all this is still in ebullition, and the Web3 communities are trying to find and catch, police what's happening. And there's a lot of example of security exchange guys, a security crypto platform, where they start to flag now people and say, hey, this is what's happening, and you see that happening. So when we were into the internet revolution, it was the same
Happening
scenario.
again. It's happening again.
People scamming, yeah, they were building fake website, scamming people. So if you want to put the amount of scam in a scale between traditional industry, the web industry itself today, and the Web3 industry, and now even the regulated bank, where it's a total scam happening every day in billions, we still like irrelevant in the event of the crypto space. So I think
totally agree. I totally agree.
they like to focus on the crypto because it's an easy prey. Where I would have loved to understand better what really happened to SBV and what happened to the Swiss bank.
100%.
It was quick paint over, and the news stayed. You know how long? 24 hours.
1
They
week
solved
it
the
was
problem,
gone.
print the money, and that was gone. Yeah, that was gone.
True.
And they bring me Sam Bankman every single week for the past 6 months. Yalla, put him in jail. Get what you get back from him. I don't want to hear about him anymore. They take this ghost every 5 minutes to remind us, oh, crypto is bad. Yalla, khalas. Give him what he deserves.
That's why it's
Close
important.
The topic.
Why the creation of Bitcoin was done is to move. The first mined transaction on the blockchain of Bitcoin was talking about the 2008 crisis that happened, and that the banks are going to be reimbursed by the government. And this is another problem that we have with SVBs, Credit Suisse. It's all happening again and again. So now it's a cycle of 12, 14 years, but it's happening, still happening. Guess who's paying? The taxpayers.
So, our children. Look, we don't feel it ourselves. Some country do feel it when they overprint. The lack of Turkey. When my friend told me like a few months ago, I need to buy bicycle. I said, why bicycle? He said, they don't allow us to buy car,
It's too expensive.
more than one, to store my money. No, to store my money. The guy wanted to store his money somewhere. So the bank was not, the lira is depreciating. It's like, I'm going to buy many cars and I will sell car later on. At least it's an asset. Then later on, he's like, oh, they don't allow us to buy a car. He's buying bicycle, you know, the 2 wheels bicycle, because it still has some kind of value. So I was laughing. So again, so they are trying to make us, and actually the funny thing is that we're feeling it today. Before, like 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, when they used to print, I was still like, okay, you know, I don't feel it. But sorry, I'm going to Malaysia, Indonesia, I see the people feeling the pain with the overprinting of the money. I talk to my friend in Africa, I go to Algeria, they're like, I need like so much dinar to buy 1 kilo of potato. It's crazy what's happening in our time. Before, with the inflation, used to take, with the overprinting, used to take some time before it reflects to some certain economy. And now is almost overnight. So yeah, interesting time, to be
Yeah,
honest.
the US alone printed in the last 6 months maybe as a history of 10 to 12 years, only in 6 months. So what's happening in the world, I totally agree with you. And then secondly, what's happening even on traditional exchange, such as NASDAQ and so many other things, we don't have, they are regulated, they have governance, they have audit reports and so many other things. And yet the market has lost in the last year around $3 trillion or $4 trillion. But we don't talk about that. We talk about, again, cryptocurrencies losing 300 million. So the amount of fraud, you mentioned also something on the fraud. It's funny, from 2013, the peak of fraud on cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and so many other things, has been going down and down and down. Why? Very simply, because they discovered after a while that Bitcoin could be tracked. So me as a fraudster, I don't want anything to do with Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency because I can be tracked. So it is super transparent to a point where FBI and other agencies can track even your IP now. So I don't want to do anything. So it's actually going down. Not, with money, technically money laundering and so many other things you could do now. So many things to try to hide your sources.
That was
But
one
with
of the
cryptocurrencies, it's no longer
exactly.
the same. So I want a
It was the
scenario like
argument
this.
there. Yeah.
It's coming. It's coming. Again, we are in the infancy of this technology. It's such a powerful technology. Now, with the rise of AI has been there for 73 years, if you didn't know. But we didn't see it
Yeah.
peaking until the last 13 years. And then, especially in the 9 months ago, with the creation of ChatGPT by OpenAI. But it became
Yeah.
democratized. It became democratized. It's accessible now, even though it's still, if you didn't know, every transaction you do, so every query you write on Open AI, ChatGPT, it costs around $12 to $15. If you didn't know that, you're doing it for
Oh,
free, but it's actually costing huge bucks for it to
to
be
them.
versus Google
Mm.
versus others. It costs 0.5, 0.3 cents, but they are making it using advertising and so many other things. We are witnessing, just imagine AI and blockchain mixed all together. What will be the product of the future? We're waiting for
Mm.
another white swan that will be
Yeah.
touching every point of our lives.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you actually, what's the advice of, for people who are just getting the fit into understanding, because as we know, a lot of people, they got burned, they got out of the crypto space, but as you know, people are coming in also, they want to understand better what's happening. Some of them are trying to. So what's some of the advice you would give at people who, of course, we try to onboard them with MetaMask wallet, which is a headache still, very difficult for people to understand how it works. So we try to find better UI UX onboarding, working with on-ramp, off-ramp. So what's some of the advice you would give to a general people on how to start looking at it, educating themselves? and getting into it, if they have to get it, what's the exposure that they should do? And well, I mean, because still
We
people are still
cannot leave
making money.
ourselves, like this. We have to educate ourselves. Today, even I'm sure many of you've witnessed the same thing every time you do a transaction on the best exchange you have. I'm not gonna name. You always have to validate once, twice, 3 times the wallet address, and then which network, and it's still tougher. But anyhow, the education on the masses is much needed, and this is where you are doing this job. I'm trying to do this job, but we need the governments to step in and then try to promote, regardless, because some people will argue with me, it is a decentralized way, why do we need governments? But governments are adapting those technologies, and guess what? We are witnessing governments implementing these, regardless you like it or you don't like it. And there's the other totally decentralized way. So it's both ways that are leading to the same function. We need more institutions to teach about blockchain, cryptocurrencies, trading, or dealing, or transacting. You mentioned MetaMask, which is, until today, it's it's not easy. If you have a ledger, it's even worse and more complex to transfer from a ledger from offline to online. We're still not there, but it's coming. But at least start testing, start transacting, start exposing yourself to this, and then once the network is more mature, it is maturing. You are there on the forefront. You're not outside. You don't know what's happening. No, try to see. I'm in trading perspective. I'm a long-term holder. I don't deal, small trades or whatever. I see, for example, I'm not giving financial advice, but for example, seeing Ethereum and Bitcoin on the long run, they are here to stay, and they will be, forever staying with us. The innovation that's happening, I like a lot Ethereum, because the amount of innovation that's happening on that platform, it's amazing. We hear one coin or on the word coin or mem coin jumping in and out, and then those are not real applications. But I would say familiarize yourself. There's a lot of courses online, free and not free and paid. I'm going to name one because I've done so many trainings. I don't need the trainings, but the idea of it, because I also teach, I want material. I want new ways of material. I love Blockchain Council, how they were able to convey the message to me, especially. I've been there in the space for 7 years. I learned new things. I learned that even though Satoshi is the one who crafted everything, for example, but the concept of blockchain was not exclusively for him. He just added a couple of stuff, but it was way before him. So there's a lot of things to learn. There's a history. There's how we deal. There's numerous new words, layers. We need to learn. So get your education up. Expose yourself with small amounts. Do fail and test. And then, there's platforms like Takadao and Takadao trying to promote this. We have our talk show also, Crypto Talks, trying to help people. We take live Q&As. There's a lot of things that our region can do. Let's focus on our region, because our region, I see it as becoming a big boom towards the future. As part of the economy, we are a strong economy in the region, in the GCC more specifically, and then that will bring us more investments. We need more people to jump in, not just start. We need more startups. We need more investors. We need more investments. We need more coders. We need a lot of fundamental people to jump on this and start producing output. Start putting the fingerprint that this is made in Arab land, made in Middle East, and then how we can promote such things, not just from investment part, but also from innovation and evolution and then creation. So it's a whole multi-layered approach towards different things, and I love the way how this talk is going, and then the people, how they can benefit from all of this so that they can do action.
Thank you so much for this. I think it's a good place to wrap up. So I'm going to give you the last word. Tell people where they can find you, how they can follow your work, and how they can reach out to you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm available on all social media as at Rudy Shushani, wherever platform, it's the same thing. Follow me, and then whatever you have questions, further questions, or any discussions you'd like to take, or consultancy on the space, we're more than happy to be there and then try to bring forward the agenda of blockchain in our region. I really believe in pushing forward this agenda and trying to put a fingerprint in our region towards the global world, because at this point of time we need more innovation and we need more. If we focus on this, I think it can be a substantial change to our economy, because the future of economies is not just oil, it's not just manufacturing, it's not just agriculture, it's becoming the digital aspect of things, the digital economy. So we need to push that agenda also, and how we can not just blockchain, anything related to the digital, and then start producing towards the globe, and then start putting our fingerprints, was it from intellectual property to commercializations to applications. Why would MetaMask could not be made in Saudi Arabia, for example, and so on and so on. So learn, upgrade your skills. And this is the new skills that we need is not just technical skills, it's about soft skills, because it's really moving so fast in our learning curve that we need to be resilient and then take what's happening and then try to produce something out of it.
Thank you so much,
Rudy. It was really a pleasure having you, and looking forward to see you in person in Riyadh anytime. Open invitation. It was great having you as always. Thank you guys, and until next time, salam alaikum everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.